Welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report. Ryan Mayer here with the head coach for the Hofstra Pride baseball team, John Russo. And coach, 4 games for you this past week. First, a weekday game against Fordham. You come away with a 14-9 win. Another outing for John Schilt that didn't quite go maybe the way you guys wanted it to, but it seemed that he got a little bit more work in, and he got some other guys out of the bullpen some good work as well.
It did. Not to say any win's not a good win right now, but that was a first game that I thought, man, we didn't deserve to win that game. And little did we know it was, forecasting what was going to come from the weekend with the walks and the not playing good baseball. And listen, we were happy to for sure get that win on Wednesday. We hit really well. We played, decent enough defense, but I thought it definitely foreshadowed what happened on the weekend.
Now, you move forward into the weekend, and obviously it's a 3-game set against James Madison, the preseason #1 in the conference. They've had their struggles so far this season, but they've also been injured. On Friday night, a 13-2 loss for you guys. Jared Rogers only goes a third of an inning. What happened with Jared? Was he injured before the game, or did he get injured during the course of the game? What happened that he had such a short start?
He was telling us afterwards that he had, some arm issues before the game started.
Okay.
So, we definitely would have liked to have known before it, and, we definitely would have done things differently. And then he went a third of an inning with the 4 runs and got hit around. His velocity was okay. He just had, fortuitous hits, up the middles and just barely out of the reach. And, it really set us up bad on the weekend with having 18 innings to play on Saturday and having to use the bullpen, 1/3 of an inning into the game. And, it set us off on bad. And James Madison had been playing really well, winning, 5 of their last 6 conference games and getting 2 big hitters or 2-hole and 3-hole hitter back, which, extends their lineup down. And, got them off to a real hard start, and it got us off to a really bad start. So, there wasn't much of Friday, and that we could be too pleased about. We didn't do much of anything good.
Now, what did you see from the hitting side of things? Because JMU actually throws their best pitcher on Friday, a little bit of a change from what you normally see, where the best guy will go in the 3rd game of the series. What did you see from the hitting on Friday that just didn't allow them to get going?
No, I don't think they really recovered from, being down early. They were trying to do too much and get it all back at once. And, later on Saturday, game 1, we had an 8-run inning, but they were talking about, we've had an 8-run inning before. I'm like, how about we just chip away with 1 or 2 and get to work there? And, we just never really, got to our offense. Being down so much early, hurt our running game, which gets our offense going. And, there just wasn't anything that lined up for us Friday that was good. It was the first home loss, and, a lot of pressure with that. The guys knew that we hadn't lost at home, and they're, wanting to come back so much. And just nothing really went well for us on Friday.
Now you move forward to Saturday, as you mentioned, a doubleheader against James Madison. The first game, John Tiedemann only goes 3 2/3 of an inning, probably not his best, obviously not his best outing of the season, probably his worst start that we've seen from him in the past 3-4 starts. What did you see from him that was a little bit different? I know he had 5 walks. Was his command just a little bit off, or he wasn't getting some of the calls that maybe you were expecting?
He was all right early, and got off to a decent start, and then we had the 6th run, I believe, 3rd inning, and that was the inning Matt Reitsetter and Hammer collided, and Matt Reitsetter had to leave the game with a concussion, and he's actually even going to be out this coming weekend against Delaware. So it's a big thing when Matt Reitsetter's called every conference pitch of the year. And as good as the pitching staff was doing, I could say, hey, it's as good a job as Matt Reitsetter and Kevin Flynn have been doing, calling pitches. And Kevin hasn't caught Tiedemann very much. Matt's caught on the weekends. Kevin usually has our midweek game and then subs late during the weekend. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but Tiedemann was off. We didn't make the catch of the pop up when they collided. That would have been 2 outs, and instead that kid gets a hit, and then 6 runs later, Tiedemann has a 3 2/3 inning. So in our first 2 starts, we get 4 innings with 27 innings within about 24 hours. It just wasn't what we needed. It was like the perfect storm. James Madison came in hitting, our pitching didn't come in delivering. I wasn't happy with, we walked way too many guys on the weekend overall, and John has good character and stuff, and he answered back later on Saturday, but we definitely need better from him.
then you look forward to the second game on Saturday, and you guys do pull out the win, so not a complete series sweep for James Madison. You do take 1 of 3 from them at home and salvage the series a little bit, but another little bit of a rough outing from your starter, and Dave Jesh doesn't go as deep as we've been accustomed to seeing him go in games. Was it the same thing for him that it was with Tiedemann, just maybe not used to the battery mate behind the plate and Kevin Flynn?
First outing he hadn't thrown to Matt. He gives up 9 runs in 3 innings, and I think Kevin was trying to let David throw more of what he wanted to throw, and when Matt catches, it's more of you're going to throw what Matt wants to throw.
Right.
And there isn't much argument, and David's really went that way, so maybe it was a little bit of that, and we have to blame it. It's the worst outing he's had this year, and once again, couldn't have come at a worse time when we've only previously we had 4 innings worth of starts, and then David goes 3, so we had 7 innings worth of starts out of 27 innings needed. So we used our bullpen for 20, and by the output of the runs, and I think we gave up 40-some runs on the weekend. We had 32-some walks. We had 6 hits batsmen. We had 38 free bases. I mean, we couldn't have done any more to give away games than what we did. We made 8 errors on Saturday, and a lot of them, we were going over them this morning. They weren't physical errors. They were mental errors of not backing up bases when a throw went away, not getting to a base. Just simple stuff that we could have prevented with a little bit of hustle and a little bit of smarts. And, we didn't, but we really got we're really happy with coming away with the win. The game 3, we had plenty of chances to fold. We scored 4 in the first to go up 4-3. We gave up 3 to go down, gave up another 3. I think at one point we were down 11-5 in that game, and even after the first game we were down 13-5, and we came back and scored 8. So we've shown a real passion to come back in games, not give up. We could have folded on the 3rd game and given it away, but it was a victory that we took away and desperately needed. So we're real happy to get that win, but not happy at all by the way we played the whole weekend.
Now, after a weekend where your starters really struggle on the mound, what do you say to those guys after what has been some of the worst starts that they've had this year? How do you get them back on track and get them to put that out of their memory quickly?
We know they don't have much time to work on that. We're going to have a bullpen between now, but we play 3rd place Delaware next weekend, and Tiedemann and Jesh are going to have to get right after it, and we're going to have to try to figure out between now and then who we want to start on Friday, because it's a huge game, and I've been really stubborn of not moving Tiedemann and Jesh out of their spots. We're undefeated so far in conference, 6-0 on Sundays with David starting, even though he had the bad start this weekend. So I feel it's too much of an advantage for us to give up by moving him. So I'm going to basically we're talk to the pitching staff and try to figure out this Friday situation where we can get a competitive enough game to get us through 5 or 6 innings where we can hand the ball off to the Cody Normans, the Brian Verbitskis, and get us to finish out the game like we did against Georgia State. And our offense has been really putting up runs. I think if you would have said we scored 29 runs on Saturday with David Jesh and John Tiedemann, I don't think anybody would have voted we didn't go 2-0, and we were lucky to get a split. So the one thing we just have to do for sure with the pitchers is get back to basics. I don't understand the 32 walks. I don't understand the not backing up bases, and it's stuff we're going to meet and figure out between now and Friday. It has to get figured out because we don't have time to get back into it. We have to win this series against Delaware.
Now, you spoke a little bit about the errors that kind of plagued the team a little bit this weekend. Is that do you think that is contributed at all by the fact that you just don't have as much depth in terms of players that you can continuously roll out there at the fielding positions because of the just not having to play the same infield guys over and over again?
Well, what I'm going to blame it on, and this was my thought after getting away from it a day yesterday, is if you sit out there for 32 walks, you're standing around. We hadn't done that before. When we had David, and when we were pitching well, we pitched to contact, even Jared, and throwing well and throwing to contact. When you get 32 walks, I mean, that's 140-some balls. It's a long time to sit around. Then a rocket gets hit to you that you're not really ready for, and you bobble, or people are like, oh, if you would have had that double play ball, that'd have been great to get him out. Well, if he wasn't standing around for 15 minutes for the last ball to be hit, then I argue that he might make that play. So, I'll go to war with our position players. I'm really proud of our defense. It's something that's been the backbone of what we've done, and it had a bad weekend, but I think it gets attributed right to what we did on the mound this weekend. 32 walks, 38 free bases. That's not going to win. And it didn't this weekend, and we were very lucky to come away with one game.
Now, obviously, looking forward to this weekend. You do have, as you mentioned, you guys are tied for third place right now with Delaware, 11-7 in conference play, so a big series coming up for you guys. What do you say to the team about the spot that you're in right now? Is this exactly where you want to be, within striking distance of that second spot in the conference going into the weekend, or would you like to stress to them that we can be higher than this? We can really take a stranglehold on that second spot.
I think it's a series that we have to win because we have to get the tiebreaker over somebody. We don't have it over George Mason. We don't have it over Wilmington. So, I hate having to root for teams to lose when we have a chance to control our own destiny. And, if we were able to beat Delaware in the series, then, at least we've got third place locked up, hoping with Mason to lose some games. They still have Wilmington left. They still have Delaware left. So you got to think they're going to have some losses along the way to get us back into the race for second. But, right now we've got to figure out this Friday matchup. They have one of the best Friday night starters in the league, and he's won most of his weekends, and he's been a big reason for why they've done real well. So, on paper, that's a matchup we're not the favorite on Friday, and in turn that puts a lot of pressure on Tiedemann and Jesh on Saturday and Sunday, but they've been able to come through. They did well, the Georgia State, Wilmington's, the weekends before that, ODU, and that's a winning type recipe for us right now, and we just got to get this pitching staff figured out. And I think with the offense going as it is, and we have confidence, and I think we can compete for sure. We just have to fix things between now and then.
All right, well, head coach John Russo, thanks for joining me inside the W. Mason Coaches Report, and good luck out there this weekend.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.